thank you so much. I know you get asked a lot of these questions and stuff, and I apologize that we have to start with the greatest movie of all time. But I wanted to ask you about Saw 6, baby.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you like how's a Saw script like that? Because I heard a Saw script is totally different than normal scripts, like they're by the tone they're written and stuff.
Not so much that, except that they have these great big chunks where they're dealing with the traps, and I was in 5 and 6, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So and I always sort of was overjoyed by the fact that I never had to participate in any of the traps because
Yeah.
it really is brutal. I mean, the amount of time that it goes in, and then the things these people had to do, like being submersed in water and all kind of crazy stuff. But I finally got my comeuppance in 6, right? Screwdriver to the neck, did the trick, and I was literally covered in blood.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Like when you died, like how like did they just throw a whole bunch of fake blood on you, or like was that
No,
uncomfortable?
no, they had a tube that runs up your leg, right, and under your costume, and then it's like positioned and covered up with sort of surgical tape that they make up to look like skin.
Yeah,
And then when the, you know, incident happens, I mean, there's a guy, there's a special effects guy with a canister,
yeah,
a pump canister. It's nothing fancy, but he's just pumping. And the effects guy was really overzealous. I mean, the blood was like just gushing unnaturally, 2 feet in the air and all of my nose and my eyes. And when we finished the take, the director said, "Okay, we need to go again." And every here I am dripping in blood, and the wardrobe and makeup guy, they're like, "What?" And the wardrobe is saying, "I only have one more costume for him." So, and I'm saying, and I need a shower, right? So it took about an hour to get us back up to speed, but we did it one more time, and it was even more gory. So, um, but yeah, I really was attracted to the series because of it's got a great psychological component to it. It's not just like gore for gore's sake, and the traps are so intricate, and the special effects team in Toronto were so detailed, and I really admired them. They went to great lengths to make sure everything was exactly the way it would be anatomically.
yeah.
Color of blood, the way the entrails were exact. So I dug that, and sad to have been killed after 6 because I was supposed to do number 7 as well.
Oh, were you? Oh my
Yeah,
god!
yeah,
They
Rich.
could flashbacks though. They could always bring you back in flashbacks.
Maybe I doubt it, but
Uh,
no, it's a cool series. I mean, there's not the fan base has kind of dwindled a little bit.
yeah.
But I was in Colorado this weekend where, Saw was one of the featured films.
I'm a huge Saw fan, and
Ah,
I think I like the movies because It I mean, I wouldn't say it's one of the original, like, low budget films that blew up, but it had that style where, like, the first one, they spent all the money just on Danny Glover, and it became a huge hit, and, like, then they're like, "Oh, we can make these good films for cheap," you know what I mean? So I thought that that was kinda an interesting take in filmmaking, because I was a freshman year in high school when they started to come out, so I thought it was pretty unique.
yeah, no, absolutely. Great take on horror, and original enough to get a whole series of them. But after the first one, which I think was only $1 million,
Yeah.
they did spend some money. I mean,
Oh, nice.
it wasn't that low budget. I mean, it was a full on shoot. I forgot if I recall correctly. I mean, they were 6 to 8 weeks of shooting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
But
was proper.
now, did you wanna be like, did you wanted to be in a trap, or are you happy you died by how you died? Like, or would you say, "Hey, listen, I wanna get in a trap"?
I mean, that probably wouldn't have worked, but because the traps were always sort of coupled with somebody learning, a life lesson, right?
Right.
Or being like getting their comeuppance because of a decision they made I don't think Erickson would have fit into that. I mean, my sole mission was to get Jigsaw
Yeah.
and figure it out. But I was really happy just not to have to go through the just the being covered in blood and or being stuck in some ridiculous long day of shooting. But no, screwdriver in the neck, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a cool death scene because like because you were right there, you caught him, and then you're
Oh,
like,
I had him.
you had him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's great for the audience too, because I'm sure it was suspenseful that way.
Yeah.
I mean, no, the audience was clued in. It's like, oh my God, he's going to do it, and then it's
Yeah.
it was well done. I'm all for it.
Yeah. And then I don't know if this is true because you can't believe everything you read on the internet, but I wanted to ask you, is it true that your family hated you for a minute because you had a nice mustache?
No,
uh, they were like, I heard like they hated your mustache or whatever in the movie.
no, I actually came with it. I'd done a film just prior to Saw 5, and I had it on. So I was playing another detective. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny. I wear sort of utility facial hair, every so often just for different roles, and it'll overlap. For example, I was doing a little boxing movie and had a full Fu Manchu, and then I got cast in Star Wars. And when I went, met with Dave Filoni, I was praying he wouldn't say you have to shave it off because we hadn't quite finished.
Yeah.
And luckily, he looked at me and went, "I like it." So
Well, I was gonna say because I don't think ladies understand the relationship a man has with their facial hair. You know what I mean? Like it's
it's a thing. It's a real thing. And if you're lucky enough to have a full beard,
yeah.
capacity to grow varying different bits of iterations of facial hair, it's a real plus as an actor. But I've got a buddy who, I mean, he's got a full head of hair. He can grow really long hair, but he has next to no facial hair.
Yeah.
And when he tries to grow something in, it looks like scruff. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's never actually used it because it just looks so meager. But I could over time develop the full on, Moses beard.
Yeah. It'll take me a while. I think the longest I've gotten was maybe like 1 or 2 inches, but like that took a while for that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
so when I was growing it, I felt like I was all cool and stuff. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for the longest time I didn't shave. I just had my virgin first growth, and girls loved it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for answering about the Saw questions, but now we should talk about seriously the greatest movie of all time, the Shawshank Redemption, because I thought that like when you auditioned for that, how'd your mind go through like, oh my God, did you know it was going to be like the greatest movie of all time when you got it?
It's a funny thing. It's, uh, that was in the day when you actually received a full script prior to auditioning.
Yeah.
Whereas, say, Aliens, which was 10 years earlier, we went through the whole audition process and had never seen a script. It was only when we were actually like Jim Cameron actually said, "Hey, by the way, he called me in and we want you to be Drake." They finally handed me the script because we had all auditioned with Hudson's lines, Bill Paxton.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, so with Shawshank, having read the script, I just knew it was so great. I just had to be in this movie. The story
Yeah.
was phenomenal. I'd done a prison movie years ago prior with Nick Nolte called Weeds,
Oh, yeah.
which is, yeah, really, I mean, great cast. I mean, Nick, Joe Mantegna, Ernie Hudson, Bill Forsythe, me. I mean, it's quite a cast. Um, and because we actually shot in Stateville Prison in Illinois, it gave me a lot of insight to prison life, things of that nature. So when I was auditioning for Shawshank, I felt like I had this sort of backlog of reference to draw
Right.
on. But yeah, like with all things, like you read Alien script and you just go, oh my God, like I literally flew through Aliens like it was nothing. I read it in like 40 minutes because it true page turn.
Yeah.
Shawshank blew me away. Even The Departed. I remember in The Departed, I'm sitting on the couch with my wife. I'm reading the script, and when I hit my character's death, and then every page thereafter, somebody's dying, and every page I kept saying, "Oh my god, oh my god." And my wife is like, "What are you oh my godding about?" I said, "Somebody dies every page."
Yeah.
Film, and they kill the hero. I mean, go figure.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, but to stay on track, it's like Shawshank, undoubtedly, uh, unbelievably great script. And during the course of shooting, things happened. There were things that were cut, things that were added. Um, what distinguishes it most in my mind is the fact that we rehearsed
Yeah.
like 2.5 weeks. And it was during the rehearsal period that when I'm working out the scenes with Tim Robbins and Frank Darabont was furiously scribbling away. I thought he was like saying, "This guy absolutely sucks. We're going to fire him tomorrow." But the next morning, I got pages through my hotel door and was completely taken aback that my rehearsal improv was included in the script.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh my god.
yeah. So there's like a dozen lines that are mine. And Darabont very kindly, there's a book that he put out called Shawshank, the Final Shooting Script, which maps out all the anecdotes of what was included, what was taken out. But he credits me for my lines, which is very kind.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But so like when you read the script, because I feel, because I take screenwriting and so I know how to read scripts and write scripts, but I also know like when you write it, there's usually a 90% chance what you're writing is going to get cut or trimmed. And I wanted to ask, like on a script like that, like was that word for word pretty accurate, or how much changes did they do? You know what I mean?
No, it's word for word pretty accurate. But what happened was Frank, pretty much being a first time director, he did one other little film, but we got behind
Yeah.
almost 3 days. And there were Frank, there was a certain level of star that they were approaching before they cast Tim and Morgan, who like demurred because Frank was quote unquote inexperienced. I always told Frank, it was like, look, you're the guy that put this on the page.
Yeah.
You're absolutely the person that should be directing this movie. Um, so um, we got behind, things had to be cut. The one that affected me most was the fact that when Boggs gets beaten in the cell, I was meant to be like beaten up and then literally thrown off the fourth level tier,
Oh my god.
go clattering to the ground. But what happened was they had this really cool setup. I would have been suspended by a wire and literally just doing this as if I'm hurtling toward the earth. And they had a complementary cable where the camera would be driven up the cable, so giving the reverse illusion that I'm falling, even though I'd be stationary, but the camera would be moving.
Right.
And so that had to be cut because that was going to be like a day and a half in and of itself.
Yeah.
Um, but just the same, and the other thing that was cut, which you don't realize it, and I don't know, Frank has told me, the audience doesn't want to know about what was cut. And it's like, yeah, they might,
I want to know that
Yeah, I mean, it was the most romantic bit of the script
yeah.
where Andy exits the sewer line, and then, as per the script, he turns around and starts running back up the hill toward the prison,
Oh
toward
my
the
god.
prison, and the entire audience would have gone, "No, dude, wrong way, go the other way." But what Andy had sorted out was that early in the film, you see him sort of wistfully looking out the sliver of a window at his cell, and you just think that, oh, he's sort of wistfully dreaming of being outside.
Right.
But actually, the soundtrack would have had we kept this one element, the sound of a locomotive, steam locomotive. So we actually had a vintage steam locomotive on the tracks that could have driven right down across the prison. And when Andy then hopped on the train, that's how he got to the little town so easily. He had
Right.
timed everything out so precisely down to the second of when these trains what their schedule was.
Yeah.
So it would have just been so romantic. And it is a jump cut in the editing, but the audience has never glommed onto it. But had that happened, I think everyone, part of the catharsis of him getting out is big enough. But the fact that he had planned this as well, oh man, it would have been even more so.
Yeah. They should like like on the 40-year anniversary or whatever, release this the
Oh, they never
extra.
shot it. They
Oh, he
never,
never shot it? Ah.
no, the train was down the tracks ready to go, and they had to scrap it. So, but
Ah.
that's like one of the vagaries of filmmaking that people don't realize. I mean, stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's a living, breathing organism. So things.
I I wanted to ask you as an actor because when you work with a first-time director, I mean, I know you've worked with a couple first-time directors. What's the style like for you? It like if like do you automatically trust what they're doing if they're a first time, or if you're working with a veteran director, do you kind of like be like, okay, this guy kind of knows how to put my character in a certain element?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really distinguished by anybody that gets to the point that we're on a set and the movie's going to be made.
Yeah,
You got to give them kudos and just give them respect, and you pretty much like I take orders. Like, if I get a direction, I take it. I'm not really one to argue, especially when you're shooting. Like, that's just a waste of time and money. But
right.
of course, I've been under the direction of some incredible directors: John Frankenheimer, Jim Cameron,
Yeah,
Frank Darabont, Martin Scorsese. I mean, and even though I felt free always to make inquiries, yeah, the more experienced director, and some of them being legendary, yeah, you just do your job. You unless it's something critical, crucial,
right.
you know, and
Yeah,
and I had a few of those moments in shooting Shawshank. Um, and I'm not going to go into too much of them because I promised Frank I wouldn't. But there were moments when I had to stick up for myself and say, hey, if you don't do this, I'll check out. I had to threaten to say, I'll check out
right.
unless you create the atmosphere, get that person back, and let's do this entire scene. I'm not gonna. So it was a tough shoot for me. Tough shoot.
Yeah.
Mainly because of the nature of the character and you know what I was tasked with doing.
Well, see, the other thing is like you're actually an actor. You know what I mean? Like when I've done two movies in my life, Mark, and both of those movies, I was like the worst actor in the whole movie. Yeah, because I'm just a stand-up comedian. So like I don't like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just like, I try and make something funny compared to words on a page. And like they don't really like that. You know, like the directors I've had, they're like, stick
Yeah,
to
and sometimes you get directors who they'll provided your improv is good.
yeah.
If it's a good improv and it works, I'm sure they'll be grateful. But there are directors who are like, "Hey, say the words as they're written." Even Jim Cameron, sometimes he'd say, "Hey, I like that. Say that," or you go, "Don't say that." you know, and he was mainly saying that to Bill Paxton because Bill was continually trying to make his part even larger by offering up new improv.
Yeah. Dude, Bill Paxton was like one of those guys who just he seemed like he was just naturally like a funny dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just like that. And I was like, I like those type of guys. You're like, oh, it's work, but I could still be
Oh, no, no, no.
cool, you know?
You know, rumor around Hollywood that Tom Hanks is the most loved person in Hollywood was. It
Really?
it,
Oh.
it was Bill Paxton.
Oh yeah, yeah, I would say, yeah.
Oh, he was probably the most enthusiastic and the most interested person I've ever met. I mean, he would walk up to a complete stranger on the set, like a new actor coming in.
Yeah.
And like Daniel Cash in Aliens, he always recounts that it was his first film. He was absolutely petrified to come onto this imposing film set. And he said the whole ice was broken because Bill Paxton saw him coming in. He goes, hey, 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 Danny Cash is in the house. And hey, we're so happy to have you here. It makes all the difference. Bill, I mean, God bless, he was the reason I got to Hollywood.
Yeah.
After we finished Aliens, he called me, I swear to you, once a week.
Oh my God.
Mark, did you get your ticket yet? You got to come, man. It's going to be fucking awesome. Like, you can't miss it. Don't miss the premiere. And then he was like, I'll offer you can stay in my apartment, man. I'll just go stay with my girlfriend. And after a while, I relented. It was like, all right, Bill, I booked my ticket. I'm glad I did. I mean, I always knew in the back of my mind, if ever I was going to have a real film career, it would have to be on the back of a hit.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, you never know what's going to hit, but on Bill's, continual like enthusiasm, I'm glad I relented, because within days I was starring in a movie with Lance Henriksen. The movie had great success. It sort of cemented my career. I got weeds off the strength of Aliens. When I went into my audition, they said, "Oh, we hear you're one of the hottest actors in town." It's like, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then, funny story regarding Aliens. When I was going into Castle Rock to do my first audition, I'm sat in a hallway. You know how it is, on a chair. You're just like looking around, waiting. But there was a guy at the end of the hallway, kept going back and forth and really craning his neck at me. I was the only guy in the hallway.
Right.
So I'm just kind of looking at him thinking, what's this all about? Get into the room. Darabont's there with the producer, Nikki Marvin. And Frank says, okay, I just have to get this out of the way before we start.
Uh-huh.
You were Drake. I was like, oh my God, he's an Aliens fan. So,
Yeah. But see, that's kind of cool because like you talk about Aliens, but even Redemption, these are movies that like they'll always be popular in the next generation. So you'll always live like that. You know what I mean? And I think that that's super cool.
it is super cool. I mean, Aliens is a multi-generational film. Shawshank is going to be, although it's weird, I mean, so many people,
Yeah.
people, and a lot of women who will admit, I've never watched it.
Really?
I want to say, why not? Oh, it's a prison movie, And I said, no, no, no. You do yourself a favor, just stick with it. It's so beautifully shot. I mean, Roger Deakins is extraordinary.
Yeah.
So well conceived, and Frank's additions to the Stephen King novella are really key. Like, the character of Brooks, Frank created.
Yeah.
It's so touching.
No, like I said, it might be the best movie of all time. Like I haven't met one single person who said, it was okay. You know what I mean? Like they just say it's great. And I don't know. I just think as an actor, that's just gotta be like so like cool because you're in a movie that 10 out of 10 people love. You know what I mean?
It's well, from my perspective, it's a bit of luck. Um, Frank Darabont was in fact my angel.
Yeah.
Rob Reiner didn't want me in the movie.
Rob Reiner doesn't want anyone in his movies. Yeah.
But
Because he wants to be the actor, you know what I mean?
right.
So
But Frank fought for me. He fought for me, and even though Reiner sent him off to New York to find somebody else, I was really fortunate, because the day that I did my audition, I was so satisfied. And I remember going home thinking, you know what? I sort of broke a barrier in my own career where I just talked the role.
yeah.
Wasn't putting a lot of layers on it. I was present, I was in the character, and I just spoke.
Yeah.
Which is the real key. And it's interesting. Uh, Morgan Freeman was so supportive when we were on set too, and he made a point of just saying it. Like the trick is just be, just talk, just be the character. And
Oh yeah, for
I'm
sure.
so satisfied. And had I not gotten the role or a chance to do the movie, it still would have been an opportunity where I went, okay, I've overcome another hurdle in my career. Like, I mean, to actually achieve that moment where you're just being like, it's a real skill.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then like you talk about that skill. If we move on to another direction in your career, like for example, Rush Hour, everyone says, "Oh, the chemistry between Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan was so great." But then you got to look on the flip side. Let's talk about your chemistry with Rex Lynn. Like you guys had a great back and forth too. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. Well, that was in part created by the fact that Rex, or before he started shooting, he said, "Hey, Mark, like, can you do me a favor? Can you just call me by like my character's first name?" And it was Dan.
Yeah.
So, just as a joke between the two of us, like literally every scene, I'd find a way to go, "Dan, can you," like whatever it was, and I was adding Dan in a lot, and then it got to be a joke between the two of us, and then Brett Ratner finally came in. He was like, "Why do you say his first name all the time?" So kind of put a cap on that. But yeah, that was, but that was just a way for us to have like a real relationship. And after we saw at the premiere, saw the movie, Arthur Sarkisian, the producer, was very kind to me. He thanked me so much. He said, "Hey, you grounded this action comedy in a bit of reality. And thanks for that, because it really added to like the scope and, let's say, depth of the film." But Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, absolute gentlemen. They do have a real chemistry. Um, but yeah, most of all for me, I started my career, my entire career. I dubbed Jackie Chan's first movies, his karate films, like Drunken Monkey, Drunken Master, and one other title I can't recall. But I revoiced Jackie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then you worked with him. That's like one of those things where it's like, Mark, everything's going to come together.
Yeah, and when it was a quiet moment, we were working on set, and I just said, "Hey, Jackie, not for nothing, but I started my career revoicing you." And he looked at me, he was like, "No way, you, me?" I said, "Yeah." But it's great if you ever have a chance to listen to him. I spent a lot of hours going, "Oh, ah, ah, oh."
Uh,
I mean, he's a lovely, lovely, lovely man. Lovely.
yeah.
Oh, so generous.
So my last question about Rush Hour for you is I wanted to ask you when you got shot and then like Chris Tucker comes to save you and they're having that little situation with the guy, the bad guy. I don't know if you know this, Mark, but he's also in the Saw franchise. And they're having that conversation and you're just like, were you just like how do you act like that? Because like that's kind of tough because you're not on camera, but they're filming a scene, yet you're a big part of that scene.
Yeah, you just have to. It's imagination. You just have to do
Yeah.
your work, uh, and being off camera is being included, because you're feeding your fellow actors as much reality as possible so their performance shines. So yeah, it's all part of the job. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask you, like, this might be a weird question, but so back in the day, if you were a movie star, right? They kind of like it was very taboo to do TV, right?
Mhm.
Now every movie star is doing TV shows and stuff. And I wanted to ask you, like, how do you transition to that? Because you did a lot of TV too, but yet you were also a movie star. And then the to put the cherry on the question, you also do video games, which back in the day that was taboo. You know what I mean? So like I wanted to ask like how all that worked for you in your favor.
Well, um, it did and it didn't. I mean, and also the type of roles I played. I mean, first of all, aliens being recognized, like everyone thought I was such a badass, right? So
Right.
in Hollywood, people thought like, "Wow, I thought you were like 6'4". I'm 6 feet." But then with Shawshank, I did such a good job as a villain. People thought, "Oh, he can only be scary," and people wouldn't see me for comedy.
Right.
So it's kind of like a mixed bag. And then, you know, in Hollywood, you know, things are so fickle. There's so many variables beyond your control that you can't really dwell on it because you drive yourself nuts. But
Right.
there was also a thing where my agent once, I'd been up for a movie role and didn't get it. And my agent like thought it was like, why? He said, well, no, he does too much episodic TV. So like, but you're right. When I initially started my career in England, there was a big that you were either or. You were a TV actor, you were a movie actor. And then things started to like cross over and blend by the time I got to Hollywood. But you know, people who said I'd done too much episodic TV, my agent said, well, he has a family and he's an actor, so why wouldn't he work,
Yeah.
you know, to support your family?
Yeah.
But hey, you know, segueing into the video game industry, when I first started doing video games, buddies of mine, they say, you know, what are you up to? And I said, well, I'm doing this video game. They pause and say, is everything okay? Do do you need help? Do you need a few dollars?
Yeah.
And back then I was like, don't worry about me, because the video game world, I mean, the way it's like, you know, it's burgeoned. It's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. I'm
Oh
telling
yeah, for
you, I'm telling you,
sure.
they pay like it's a booth. So
Yeah.
I have no qualms about that at all. I'm very excited. With the work that I do, it's kind of like doing theater in the round, you know, because you have all these, you're in this volume, and you can't stop.
Right.
In fact, I did a VR game called Batman Arkham Shadow, and that's even more complex because in the VR world, um, you know, you're in the volume, and the work you do, the motion capture is immediately translated into an avatar. So it's not even my facial capture; it's an avatar.
Right.
But because it's VR as well, because it's 360, like the player could be 360 anywhere. We had to do like 8 and 10 page scenes without a break.
Oh my God.
There's no cutting. You can't cut VR. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you disrupt the whole VR world.
Yeah.
But you have to do things in a oneer. So it's kind of interesting, you know, because I'm a classically trained actor. Uh, they absolutely have to have theatrically trained people because, you know, we're the kind of people that can memorize 5 acts of Shakespeare.
Right.
So you can't have somebody go, oh, oh, I forgot my line. Like you would waste so much money and time. So you really
Yeah.
need people that have those kind of skills again to like drive something all the way through to the end. And it's fascinating. And I love it. It's, I mean, I love voiceover. I love dubbing work. I love movies most of all. But the gaming industry, it's really a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like one of my best friends is Nolan North. He does like all these video games and stuff, and like I'm actually writing a documentary about him because like, well, not about him. My best friend was Norm Macdonald, and I toured with him
Oh,
for
really?
yeah, and I toured with him for 9 years, and we're writing a documentary about Norm, and we want Nolan to play him, and he does a great. He looks like Norm, and he talks like Norm. So like that's kind of how. And I went to a Comic Con, you know, just to hang out with him, like be as an assistant and take people's money and say, yeah, you could get a photo or whatever. I didn't realize how crazy popular these video game things are. Like his line was like out the door. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
oh man, I was in Liverpool earlier this year, and next door to me were these two dudes who had a line for days. I
Yeah.
mean, days. And inquired about who they are. They go, "Oh yeah, those are the stars of Red Dead Redemption." I know nothing. I'm not a gamer,
Yeah.
but it's obviously it's a massive, massive game. So yeah, there's a huge audience. Like I mean, and I'm not being like flippant, but to say, you know, because of how the catchment of video games is so big, it tells you what people are doing,
Yeah.
and they're not going to see movies;
Yeah.
they're playing games. And the cinematics in games gets better and better and better, which is fascinating. It's great, but I think, you know, from my perspective, we may have the film industry has changed so drastic. Like the independent world in films is smaller and smaller and smaller. Even the amount of movies that the studios make is smaller than when I first went to Hollywood.
Yeah.
We used to make like 450, 500 movies a year. I used to do like 4 or 5 movies a year. Like,
And is that frustrating for you, like, especially now? Because you seem like a dude who really likes to work. Like, you enjoy, like, you like working and stuff. So, like, does that frustrate you when it's like you said, you did 5 or 6 movies a year. Now you're probably only doing one, you know what I mean? And you're like fighting for that one.
yeah, it's frustrating, especially in the independent world. The big studio picks, like they're doing a certain thing. They're doing the Marvel or DC world, and I get it. I'm not Ian McKellen. I'm not going to be. Was he Dumbledore or who was it? Who was he? Whatever wizard.
Yeah.
Uh, but I love film. I absolutely adore it. When I was training as an actor, I dutifully. I went to movies 3 or 4 times a week. And I was in London, so we could devour all sorts of classic, cinema as well because they have small art houses. But yeah, but it's been coming,
Yeah.
and the people that run the studios, they're money guys. They're not
Yeah.
necessarily creatives. Like and it's funny to tell you a quick anecdote. Like I heard in the past couple of years of like how Jim Cameron pitched Aliens. He had a bunch of executives at Fox in the room. He got up and on a whiteboard, he writes Alien. And then he put a $sign on the end of it.
Genius.
Genius, total genius. But that was his pitch. And then
Yeah.
he elaborated on what he was going to do. I mean, fantastic.
Yeah.
And visionary. You always have to give it to the writers. It's always about the writing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you manage to write something that somebody like with the ability to make a movie goes, oh gosh, I have to make that. It's a wonderful thing. But yeah.
Have you ever thought about writing a script or?
Oh, I have.
Oh, you have? Oh,
Oh,
nice.
yeah. Yeah, we got real close. We had one script. It was great. Gunnery sergeant who'd been in Iraq comes back home. He's got PTSD, and he tries to go back, and he has aged parents in Chicago, and he goes to see them, and father's an alcoholic, the mother's like losing her mind, and he can't stay there. So he decides, whatever, I got to get out of here. He hooks up with this guy on the south side of Chicago who sort of seduces him to thinking that like we're going to travel south to New Orleans and we're going to see ourselves in Creole.
Oh my God.
He goes along the ride as this unlikely pair, and comes to find out that the black guy's sister. He's on a mission, not to really con anybody or anything, but he's got to get to New Orleans because he's got to save his handicapped sister.
Yeah.
And we loved it. We had a guy giving us like $4 million.
Whoa.
We had
Cha-ching.
Yeah, we had started pre-production. Contracts were being drawn, and the guy actually spent like $150,000 in contracts. And then we had the recession of 07, 08.
Oh my God.
And the investor was just like, I can't do this. And he pulled out.
Yeah.
And we were literally weeks away from pre.
Oh my God.
So
yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry that happened.
Well, shit happens. But that's why I say, if you're lucky enough to write something that somebody responds to, and then you actually get the money, and then the next hurdle is making the movie. Like my son's movie producer, he describes for me like what it is like when let's say you're getting your money through not a private investment, but a financier. They are making deals and augmenting the financing down to the last second before you close this deal. And it's so harrowing. Like I saw my son closing the deal once. Oh my God. He was just so bound, pent up, and then it finally closed, and my God, he slept for like 2 days. It's quite a process.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, I want to respect your time, but do we have 10 more minutes
Yeah.
or yeah. So like it's really hard because like I write scripts and like my family, you know, they're always like, "Hey, why don't you pitch it with your celebrity buddies?" And I was like, "Well, there it's a whole different industry besides writing and pitching. Like that's like I could pitch something to you and you could say, "Oh, that's a great idea," but it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't it's not it's a totally different layer
Well, it
of
means something if you send it to somebody who has the power to
yeah,
get
exactly.
the movie made. It's fascinating. We have a film in development now with my son's company, and it looks like we may have an agency in Hollywood that want to package it, which we hope it happens. But I can tell you, it's not an easy fix. It's, and this script is phenomenal. First time
Yeah.
first time I read it, it was like, oh my God, this is Shawshank stuff.
Ah,
But we're right at that place. It's like, are we going to get over the hump and actually get the financing and get it made?
yeah.
Um, it really is like giving birth when you can finally be on a set and you see your vision come to life.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like seeing a newborn child for the first time.
Ah,
And you think of just like genius. I mean, Jim Cameron. He lived with that script for 8 years before it was made.
yeah.
You know the
Yeah,
story? Do you know the story? So
no, but I know a lot of writers hold on to their scripts before they're
yeah, because so
yeah.
Jim Speck wrote Aliens. He took it to Fox. They wanted to buy it off him. He was like, "No, I want to direct this." They were like, "Yeah, but you've only done Piranha 2." And like, so why don't you? They actually said like we're not gonna let you direct it, or go away and make something in this ilk, and then we'll talk.
Right.
So what does a genius do? He
He
conceives Terminator.
makes Terminator, yeah.
But think about it. He lived with the script of Aliens for 8 years, and then when he finally got to make it, Jim got 8 million, 18 million bucks.
Yeah.
That was it, 18 million. And any overages in the schedule, he was on the hook for personally.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
he very intense, very focused. But I'm telling you, the day that I walked into his office to get my script and to be told I was going to play the role, on all four walls of his office was the storyboard
Right.
in sequence on all four walls, around and around the room. And Jim is a very fine artist. Um, I venture that what he drew are the exact setups of what he shot.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. He had to have.
And I mentioned him a few years ago. I inquired, I said, "Do you still have your storyboards?" And he said, "I don't know, they're in a box somewhere." I said, "Jim, you should do a coffee table book with storyboards, because the fan base would eat that up."
Yeah. Well, speaking of fan bases, I noticed you're doing a Comic-Con this weekend in Los Angeles, and I wanted to ask you, like, do you get like do you get like anxiety or not necessarily like a bad stress, but do you find it like that you meet all these people because like even though like you're happy that they're there, but as an actor, does that kind of just throw you off because at the end of the day, it's just acting? You know what I mean?
Not really. No,
Yeah.
no, I'm not one of these actors who, oh, I can never watch myself on film.
Oh, really? I can't watch myself at all, even when I do stand up. Like I'm like,
Oh wow. Huh,
yeah,
I'm absolutely happy with it. Listen, the training I got in England was such an intense training. I'm grounded. I'm
yeah,
really grounded. And the truth is with respect to conventions, without the fan base, we wouldn't be here,
yeah,
right? And you know, there is the occasional time when you encounter somebody who's obviously on the spectrum, but the truth is like, you know what? They're fans.
Yeah.
They think very deeply in a way that I can't even think about the films that I've done.
I'm on the spectrum, Mark.
Yeah.
So like
Well,
these
you know what I'm saying?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes. I mean,
So
I wasn't saying that to denigrate people on the spectrum. I'm just
oh
saying
no, no, I didn't take that. I was just like,
it's just the way
yeah,
it's like, you meet people who they'll start to recount the entire film to you,
yeah.
thinking that they're giving you some sort of new,
Like you didn't know it.
yeah, and giving you some enlightening piece of information. But
Yeah.
but no, but you gotta love them because they've digested your work. They obviously they wouldn't be standing in front if they didn't appreciate you. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's a way of giving back. I love traveling. I consider myself extremely lucky to have been in films that, like you say, greatest movie of all time, arguably. I mean, I think so. But
Saw 6.
Saw Sick. I mean, come on. But yeah, but I'm lucky to have been in some really great ones, and it's certainly been a great ride. And I'm not done. I want to do more. In fact,
Yeah.
I have no intention of retiring. I want to be like Moliere, who was a famous French playwright. He was also an actor.
Yeah.
But as a young student, I read the anecdote that Moliere actually died mid performance on stage in Paris.
Oh my God.
I,
So did
thought
Dick
to myself,
Clark when he was doing stand-up comedy. He just had a heart attack. Yeah. So
but for me, when I read that as a kid, I was like, wow, that's exactly like I'd like to go down. I'd love to be on stage, maybe playing King Lear or Death of a Salesman, and oh, I would love that. I would love.
yeah.
But I love acting. Um, I feel very very fortunate to have the kind of career I've had, but I love movies and yeah, it's a great ride. But I'm not done. I'm
Yeah.
I'm in
Well,
great shape.
I have two more questions for you, Mark, and this one's kind of a funny question. It's not to be taken seriously, but when I heard in high school you went to high school at Chevy Chase High School, and like, what's it like?
Bethesda Chevy Chase.
Yeah, yeah. What's it like going to a celebrity high school? You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of that's how you want to be famous is have a high school named after you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it was funny. Yeah, because once when he was doing SNL and all the gang of people I hung out with as a kid, we were like, yeah, Chevy Chase. That was our haunt. That was our hood.
I think Daniel Stern went there too. I'm not
And
sure.
he went to Danny. I
Oh,
went
he did? Oh,
to high school with Danny. Yeah, he was in the year below me.
oh,
And
yeah.
we were both, Danny was very involved in the theater department. I only ended up doing one play. But then when I moved to New York, I run into Danny and he was always very, very kind. But I haven't seen him in decades. But yeah,
He's he's probably one of the funniest guys I've ever met.
seriously.
Oh my God. Like I interviewed him and he was so great. And he has like one of the funniest jokes in movie history that people don't realize is like in Home Alone when Macaulay Culkin like goes through the treehouse, Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci are running, and Joe Pesci's like, "Where'd he go?" And Daniel Stern's like, "Well, maybe he committed suicide." And I thought like that that is the funniest, for a kids movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just yeah. I just really like cool dudes who are just like, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Mark, my last question for you is if you could go into a time machine and talk to a younger version of yourself, knowing everything you know now, what would you tell yourself?
Hmm. Wow. Hmm. Probably just the way that I've lived my life, be patient, be ready for when an opportunity pops up. And when
Yeah.
those pop up, more than often, say yes. If you're a naysayer, you'll lose out on so many opportunities in life. But if you just say yes, you step in, you'll be surprised what shows up.
Well, thank you so much for saying yes to me.
Yeah,
Be-
but
You know,
case in point.
Yeah.
Case in point.
I mean, I get a lot of no's, but I've been in this industry for so long that like no's don't really affect me. Like,
You gotta have Teflon skin.
yeah, like
But
I feel no means not right now.
it does, absolutely. And the end with your Norm Macdonald film, I mean, just carry on. I mean, he's iconic, and wow, you'll get it made. You'll get
Yeah,
it, you know.
there's gonna be a part in there for you.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
what?
Norm and I loved Saws, so like,
Oh, did he really?
yeah, we would be on the road and we watch romantic comedies and Saw and all that stuff.
Can I tell
And
you a funny thing?
yeah,
I never actually met him. Right?
oh really?
No, but my nearest encounter with him, we were in the waiting room at a day surgery center to get colonoscopies.
Really?
And Norm was there with his wife, and my wife had just dropped me off and went off home. But yeah, she kept reassuring him that he would be okay. You know, because a lot of people are petrified of having something put up your rectum. But no, but
Yeah.
that was my nearest encounter with Norm Macdonald. But I remember sitting there going, "Oh my God, it's Norm Macdonald. Oh yeah, he's getting a colonoscopy too."
What year was this? Do you remember this?
uh, Had to be early 2000s.
Oh, okay. So he was like already doing movies and stuff back then.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, he was a star.
that that's cool. I want to be a star where I could see other stars at a doctor's office.
Well, hey man, I mean, I tell you, one of the best encounters I ever had. I was in Rome, revoicing an actor's entire performance in a film, and while I'm doing this session, the director gets a call, and he's saying, "Oh no, 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 Francesco, no, your performance is fantastic. No, you don't need to do any ADR. Everything was perfection." And here I am revoicing the guy's entire performance. And then it's almost lunchtime, and in walks Federico Fellini.
Oh my God.
And I get introduced. You know, the, the director called him Maestro, of course, but he was like, "Maestro, this is Mark Rolston. He's over here from Inglaterra." And I was just gobsmacked. I was like, "Such a pleasure, sir." And I couldn't get anything out. So the director was finally like, "Okay, Mark, time to go. Time to go. Go have a coffee. Come back in an hour. Bye bye. Bye bye." Because I was just. But yeah, I mean, oh my God, Fellini. I loved it.
Ah.
Wow.
Well, hey man, have a great weekend in Los Angeles. Maybe I'll swing by and say hi.
Hey, please do, man. I'd love to shake your hand. It'd be nice
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah.
Then thanks for
Yeah.
the opportunity. Again,
Oh no, thank
always
you.
saying yes.
Yeah, thank you for saying yes. I've been trying to get you for a while, so I'm so glad that
Seriously.
we yeah, yeah. But I'm very persistent. I
I'm
think
glad my new manager, Kieran McGuire at the Arlet Group, he's a cool dude, and he's this guy. Talking about Teflon skin. I've just gone with Kieran.
yeah.
My first meeting with him was like, "So why me?" With the diversity mandate in town and everything. I was like, "Why do you want this old white guy?"
Right.
And he just said, "Because everything I see you and you're absolutely fantastic. Why wouldn't I want you?" And this guy, he's got like Teflon skin. Like he just keeps going. And
Yeah.
he keeps saying to me, like, we just missed out on a Yellowstone spinoff. I mean, it was like a month-long thing of like, "You're still there. It's you and another guy." And a month of it thinking, I'm keeping quiet because I never tell my wife anything until we book, because otherwise she can
Right.
she can jinx it because she's a witch. Um, but in the end, I was like, "Oh well, okay, that didn't happen." He's like, "Don't worry, we're gonna get you that series. We're gonna get you that movie." And like in this business, you need those people around you to keep booing you, keeping your spirits up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh
And
no, for sure.
the biggest thing is you just can't quit. You quit, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna care, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna shed a tear. So you only
I
have
mean
to keep going.
Mark, you got some great things on the horizon. You got a Norm Macdonald documentary that you're going to be in, You got Saw 10 coming up. You know what I mean? Like, you got some great things. I love it.
Oh yeah, well, if I get my movie, what's it's called The Gamble. It may be changed to Blue City, but if we get this thing up and running, oh my God, there are things that the writer put in here that I'm just tied. Weekly,
Ah,
I'm a really, really serious character. But yeah, I hope so. It's a wonderful film. We'll see.
yeah. It'll happen. All
Yeah.
right, Mark. Well, thank you so much. Have a
Here.
great day. And it was such an honor to meet you, buddy.
Hey man, real pleasure. Thanks so much. And maybe I'll see you this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'll text you. I'll be like, hey, Mark, I'm here.
Please do. And if you need help getting in, I'll see if my agent can hook something up for
Oh, that'd be sweet. Okay, cool. I'll take you
you.
up on that then.
Cool.
All right. I'll see you later, Mark.
See you, man. All the best.
All
Thanks so
right.
much.
All right, guys. That was the episode. Subscribe, rate, review, and we'll see you guys next week on Raise a Riffs.